one game I think we're all going to be watching. That will actually happen Thursday, 2:45 Eastern. That will be USA versus Wales. They've only met once before, 2003 in a friendly. It was USA walking away with the 2-0 victory. But a lot of young faces, fresh faces on this USA squad. Of the 24-man squad, 10 are uncapped. Ollie, what are you watching for with this American side?
Well, this squad, you said it, it's like the US soccer hipsters' dream. It's what they've been asking for years. You know, they want out with Michael Bradley and Josie Altidore. They want to see all the young kids come in. You've got a kid playing in Brazil in this squad. You've got a kid playing in the Dutch second division. They come from all over the place, right? But I think two things for the US to try and achieve during this window. The first one is to take a look at some of those young guys. You know, there's players 17 years old, there's players 21 years old. You want to figure out who's ready, who's not, who's still more suited to the youth programs, and who can help Greg Berhalter's first team. And then I think it's also an opportunity for players like Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie, who are very young still themselves, to actually take a leadership role in this team. That can be difficult to do sometimes when you've got a Michael Bradley in there, you know, some of the kind of big name, big personality veteran players. It can be difficult to just kind of express your own personality and really, you know, be a leadership figure in that locker room. They're going to have no issues doing that in this squad because it is so young, and they're going to need those guys to be leaders going into the next couple of World Cup cycles.
Yeah, as a partial hipster myself, Ollie, I can appreciate some of the excitement. Dest is playing at Barcelona, McKennie at Juventus, but that doesn't guarantee success. I think the hopes may be a little bit out of whack, a little bit too high. No Christian Pulisic. He's gone back to play for Chelsea. Jordan Morris, who's playing with Seattle, certainly in the U.S. men's national team best 11. So I think you're seeing an incomplete puzzle being pieced together here by Greg Berhalter. And look, they're trying to capitalize some of these players. You know, just playing in friendlies doesn't mean that they're linked or stuck with playing with the United States going forward, but they're trying to make an impression that things are moving in the right direction. And eventually, no time anytime soon for me, they'll be able to leapfrog Mexico for CONCACAF superiority.
Gareth, it's the facial hair, it's that shirt, just that right amount of tightness. You are
How can you tell?
A hipster, my friend. Yeah.
Do you know what?
Yeah,
I'm trying my best. You know, and by the way, Andy, I didn't mention that we should be focusing on Wales more than the United States because the great Gareth Bale is back playing with Wales. So that's where the main show is. You know, it's the United States men's national team's kind of the side order in this one.
2:45 p.m. Eastern time. Everyone's going to tune into that. But if you're the Canadian squad, Gareth, I mean, I'm sure you're going to be watching to see these young faces with USA because, of course, Canada, US, they're in the same group in next year's Gold Cup. But the Canadian men, they don't have any friendlies. They had a couple that were scheduled in March on home soil, British Columbia. We know that those obviously were canceled because of COVID. So I'll begin with you, Gareth. I mean, is there a concern that Canada is not one of the teams we're talking about as in getting in matches here?
I don't think there's a concern, Andy. I think there is some frustration amongst Canadian soccer supporters, and I totally get it. But it's just not practical at a time like this during COVID, where everything gets more expensive in terms of hiring staff overseas. There's players that were not going to be released by their clubs because of quarantine rules. There was going to be players on the Canada staff that weren't able to travel to Europe for this potential camp due to travel restrictions as well. And I think that Canada is being very responsible, dealing with the Canadian federal government, dealing with health officials, and they just didn't think that it was in Canada's best interest. Look, Alphonso Davies is hurt right now. All eyes are cast on January. Canada did, by the way, have some significant matches planned for this window. Look for maybe some of those to be shifted to January. That's where they want to hit the ground running. 2021 is going to prove to be a big year. I don't think November is make or break whatsoever with so many Major League Soccer players unavailable.
Yeah, I think it is disappointing just when you see some other nations, USA being a primary one, kind of vacuuming up some of those dual nationals. I know they can't commit in friendlies, but you can at least get them into a camp. But this is maybe one of those examples where we just see Canada getting closer to the US in terms of talent, but in terms of financing resources that John Herdman has to work with, he's still at a little bit of a disadvantage there compared to the US program.